very steep, Ran. This is spooky. All okay? Oh! It's getting very dark now. There's no more light.
I'm Joseph Fiennes, and I'm in Egypt for a unique adventure. As an actor, I've been lucky to play a series of fascinating characters.
Emmy nominee for Handmaid's Tale, Joseph Fiennes.
Now I'm here with a man whose story is more extraordinary than any role I could play. Sir Ranulph Fiennes. He's the world's greatest living explorer, and he's my cousin, known to me as Ran. We hardly know each other, partly because he's always been away exploring. But I've grown up with stories of Cousin Ran's remarkable exploits.
Will not come face to face with another human being for 70 days.
From walking unaided to the North Pole, to leading the first surface expedition to have circumnavigated the globe via both poles.
The man the Guinness Book of Records called the greatest living explorer.
Driving himself to extremes.
I got frostbite in the Arctic, and my late wife said, well, why not cut them off? That's the fingertips.
One of Ran's first expeditions was a daring journey following the longest river on Earth, the Nile. And now, 50 years later, I have a chance to fulfill a childhood dream as he takes me back to Egypt to retrace his historic trip.
I'd like to test myself, to really push myself to certain levels and limits, to see where my cutoff point is. A bump here.
On this challenge of a lifetime, I'm keen to find out what drives Ran to push himself to the limit, and whether I've got what it takes to cut it in his world.
Really very narrow. Eat your heart out, Indiana Jones.
Okay, this is kind of scary. So join me as I take on Egypt with the world's greatest explorer. On the first leg of our attempt to follow Ran's original journey, from Alexandria to Abu Simbel,
Right, Joe, give it hell. Go ahead, go.
I got a good dose of adrenaline-fueled expedition life.
It does raise my anxiety level.
Came face to face with Egypt's deadliest creatures.
Whoa, don't make him angry.
And started to understand what's driven my cousin to dedicate his life to extraordinary adventures.
My boys, we were called Fiend Force. That was what we were called. And we were sent on special missions.
On this second leg, we're heading for the Red Sea via Luxor. And again, Ran's keen to challenge me. He wants to see how I hold up in a fight. Sends me off-roading on my own across a mountainous desert. And tests how I cope crawling through the tombs of the Great Pyramid.
Oh, my word.
But first, we have to get out of the capital city.
Traffic! The traffic!
And one of our two vehicles, a vintage green Land Rover, is missing a vital piece of equipment. A car horn. I appreciate this might not be at the top of the Explorer shopping list, but driving through Cairo's notoriously lethal traffic is the last place you want to be without one. Thousands are killed or injured here in car accidents each year.
We're now on the wrong side of the road and in what I can only describe as a situation of chaotic traffic. And if you live in Cairo, you become, through practice makes perfect, easing your way through this sort of stuff.
Seems sensible at this point to use the car with a horn to do the shopping.
How's your needle on the petrol gauge?
We've got like a couple of minutes before we run dry on this road. I'm gonna quickly Google 95 in Arabic, because that's the quality of petrol we need.
95 in Arabic.
Yeah.
خمس وتسعين.
Every moment Ran surprises me. this time with the Arabic he picked up from his days as a soldier in the Middle East.
Salam alaikum. Shwaya shwaya ana khabar. Nurid.
He speaks what he calls a Cockney, Omanish, classic Arabic.
Muhim min shanna. Wahid.
Thanks to Rand's haggling skills, we end up with just what we need.
To stand next to him at a shop and see him purchasing a horn for a car, I feel rather proud that there's a member of my family who speaks Arabic.
So, buying a car horn is one thing to do when you're in Cairo. But there's a slightly bigger attraction: the pyramids. When Rand came here 50 years ago, his team was on a really tight schedule because many of them were serving in the military.
We looked into it and saw if it could be done in army leave time. If we could do it at that time, we might be able to arrive at the top, Alexandria, on the Delta, go all the way down through Egypt.
With time running out before he returned to army duties, there was no chance to explore the pyramids. In fact, he only caught a brief glimpse of them as his expedition team sped through Cairo at night.
Oh, look at that. Can I slow down a bit? Look. Look at that.
Oh, yeah. So you can actually see at least 4 of them from here.
Oh, sorry, Ram.
That's okay, I'll do it.
Thank you.
Dodgy driving, but maybe forgivable. After all, it is one of the great wonders of the world. The largest, or Great Pyramid, was built by the pharaoh Khufu and was the tallest building on Earth for 3,500 years.
Wow.
What a place to be, eh?
Okay. Shukran. Numbers here. I'm a bit worried this is going to blow us all away.
We've managed to arrange the near impossible.
I hate them defeating me, these fingers.
Oh, you're there.
Camping out next to the pyramids overnight, in the shadow of a wonder of the world, with the world's greatest explorer, Sir Ranulph Fiennes.
Are we in a good position here, Ram? What do you think, wind-wise?
The view is superb.
Not bad, is it?
Definitely a moment to share with the family.
How many can you count? There are quite a few pyramids.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can't see you.
It's nearly midnight, but instead of going to bed, Ran has a surprise for me.
Hello.
Dr. Ashraf, shukran alaik.
Would you like a cup of tea? Please, sit down.
Organized with the help of custodian of the pyramid, Dr. Ashraf.
Is this an elaborate joke?
Believe it or not, it's not a joke. Okay? Now you will have an access to go inside the pyramid.
Being with Joe to see the pyramids was made immensely better by surprising him by the director of the pyramid, saying we are going to make special permission for you to go right inside at night. You will have your little cousin with you.
Thank you very much. That is a chance of a lifetime.
Ran is always pushing himself physically and mentally. And I'm happy to be pushed. I mean, let's face it, he swung it for me to spend the night inside one of the most impressive buildings on Earth.
A godfather of mine worked out if you put all the blocks with all the pyramids together in
Yes.
one line, they would go around France.
That's right, yes.
Is this true?
It's true. And the weight of the blocks, some blocks about 2 tons, and some blocks about 60 tons.
Woof.
So the main entrance sloped down and goes down for 300 meters to the first chamber was cut in the rock.
300 meters.
Yes.
At Rand's request, Dr. Ashraf has chosen 3 special chambers for us to explore, each with its own secrets and physical demands.
Can go down this passage and to the king chamber. Okay?
Okay.
I think you're ready now to have your own adventure to explore the pyramid from inside.
Okay. Thank you.
I've always been fascinated by ruins all over the world. I would like Joe to experience something like this.
We have 5 hours to explore what I'm guessing is a labyrinth of challenges in the dark. And I love the fact that we're getting instructions with a pen and a scrap of paper.
Are you ready?
Totally.
Okay. Okay.
There was no way into the pyramid until grave robbers hacked their way through its solid stone exterior centuries ago.
I'm feeling this powerful pull. There is some kind of energy.
Exploration instinct is good.
The first chamber can only be accessed through a rather uninviting tunnel.
Look at that, Ran. Incredible.
It's 90 feet below the Great Pyramid, and Ran has kindly given me the honor of tackling it on my own. I think he might be secretly enjoying all this. The descent into the subterranean chamber is somewhat tricky.
It's very steep, Ran. This is spooky.
That's not gonna hold me back, though.
All okay? Oh! It's getting very dark now. There's no more light. Okay, this is kind of scary. Actually, it's not scary at all. It's kind of brilliant.
It's 5 feet high in here. I'm hunched over, and I can't see properly what's ahead. I wonder what the Arabic for chiropractor is.
Areas that look like crypts down here.
The first chamber I enter is also the most mystifying.
This is incredible.
It's thought it was left unfinished by the architects of the pyramid, but no one knows why.
Precision of the corner rock and the flat ceiling is just sublime. Okay. I better zip back up again.
This is classic Ran. He's convinced me to venture down under one of the biggest tombs on Earth. On my own.
Can you hear me?
Coming up! Bit of a climb. But, whoa.
I'm finding it difficult to pace myself in here. There's a lot of adrenaline and not much air. But we've got to push on.
Having gone down that way, we are now going up that one there.
Okay.
Okay? The Queen's Chamber.
Queen's Chamber.
Yeah.
The Queen's Chamber is normally off limits and is only accessible by crawling through a 130-foot-long passage. I'm exhausted, not surprising with the humidity and lack of oxygen. But not 74-year-old Ran, he's just getting started. Hidden chambers and tunnels. Just a regular day at the office for my cousin.
Ran, I'm in awe of your condition because I am sweating buckets. I remember when I first met him, he went, "Joe, I want you to know I do the shuffle." I soon worked out, but rather like the tortoise in the hare, his surviving the conditions that he has taught him to pace himself.
Okey-doke.
I can almost stand up.
Yep, got it.
Good?
Yep.
This is the Queen's Chamber. Wow, Ran, this is amazing.
The Queen's Chamber is thought to have housed a life-size statue of the pharaoh. Despite being one of the most intensely studied areas of the Great Pyramid, there are still thought to be hidden treasures behind these granite walls.
Look at this. Look at the chisel marks.
Exploring one of the wonders of the world in the dead of night is thrilling. But now we've only got an hour left to reach our final goal, the King's Chamber.
Look at that, Ran.
A spooky entrance. You never know what's next.
The King's Chamber is the largest and most prestigious.
Oh, my word.
Built into the center of the Great Pyramid, this space is over 11,000 cubic feet.
Oh, it's so cool against the heat.
It was once full of treasure, but all that remains today is a red granite sarcophagus where Pharaoh Khufu himself would have been laid to rest.
In one word, describe the feeling of being in the heart of the Big Pyramid.
In one word, awestruck.
Awestruck.
Yeah.
Sadly, it's time to leave. After 5 exhilarating hours, we emerged to a spectacular Cairo dawn.
Look at that, Rand.
Oh, that's beautiful. Look at that.
That was incredible. What an experience.
A lovely, lovely place.
You know, there's a part of me that wants to go back in.
On we go. Come on, then.
I don't want to leave it somehow. It's pulling me back in. 5:30 in the morning. After spending a night in one of the most glorious wonders of the world. It's kind of surreal. It's all a little bit surreal, to tell you the truth. I guess it's every boy's dream, isn't it, to connect with an explorer and go off together down the Nile and jump into a pyramid for the night. You know why Cleopatra needed a psychiatrist, don't you? Because she was the queen of denial.
Right. Queen of denial. Yeah. Denial. Yeah. I sometimes miss yours, but that one I got.
Okay.
We head south, with the pyramids in the rear-view mirror, to retrace Rand's Egyptian expedition. Next stop, Luxor.
If you want to remember how it was in the days when you could feel every bump,
Yes.
then, you know, these defenders are totally reliable.
Oh, don't do it. Please don't do it. Oh.
To get to Luxor, we're going to cross the Nile via ferry. We've got almost an hour to make it to the nearest port, which is only 25 miles away. But to get there, we have to drive through the El Minya province. It's an area that's become a target for terrorist attacks, which is why we're constantly negotiating our way through police checkpoints.
Joe?
Oh, hello. Joe to Chris, hello.
We are currently being escorted by 5 armed police escort vehicles, plus a bomb disposal unit.
Police checkpoints were also a problem for Rand's expedition 50 years ago, because Egypt was then in the middle of a war with Israel. 2 years before he arrived, the countries were engaged in another bloody conflict along Egypt's borders.
We had been forbidden to go to Egypt by the Ministry of Defense, but the letter telling us we couldn't go arrived after we'd already got there.
Today, few outsiders drive through here, and with good reason. Last year, 28 people were killed in an ISIS attack just a few miles from where we're driving now.
But now, 50 years later, we find the same situation of the police or army checkpoints lead to not being able to predict what you can or cannot do on your hoped-for schedule. It was a plus and a minus having the police with you. Each time you get to a new village, you have to change the police escort. Some of them were very nice and helpful, others had their own slownesses.
Joe to Chris.
The police don't want to allow us to cross.
After a 30-minute wait, the local police finally let us continue our journey. With only a few minutes to get to the ferry before it leaves, our film crew don't even have time to get back into their vehicle.
Do you want to jump on the back or, yeah?
I'll jump here.
We're only 45 minutes late for our activity departure.
Yeah, but we will be there before sunset.
We have to reach Luxor before dark. It's too dangerous to drive there at night.
Nahr Nil.
Okay. Okay, do you think I can drive onto this? Here we go.
I tell you, if we had had this, it would have saved us so much time and trouble in 1969.
Boarding the ferry on Rand's original expedition was a far tougher process. The flimsy ramps almost buckled under the weight of his cars, and they only just managed to fit their trailers on.
Officially all aboard the Nile. Yeah, he knows how to pack them in.
To give me a taste of what it's like organizing these kinds of logistics, Rand's put me in charge of squeezing our cars and our police escort vehicles on board as quickly as possible. World's greatest explorer? Maybe not. World's greatest parking attendant? Perhaps.
Whoop. Oh my word!
For all the stories of the Nile, it's nice to finally be on it. The world's longest river.
So Ram, here we are. This is the lifeblood of the country.
Absolutely.
"95% of Egyptians live within the Nile basin. Its waters have sustained civilizations for 5,000 years. No wonder, then, that in ancient myths, the Nile was considered a manifestation of the god Hapi, who blessed the land with abundance. With all the security risks, I guess they don't get many passengers like us. We're considered such a novelty that we're invited onto the bridge.
Right. So that one is speed.
Sora. Sora.
زيت بطارية
Batteria.
زيت.
Ah, okay.
Speed, oil, temperature.
And that's it?
Yeah.
Ran has driven everything from tanks to boats.
Okay.
I wonder if I'll be better at steering this vessel than I am the vintage Defender.
Have a go on that.
Okay, let's have a go. Ah, it's a bit of a current. We're going to go this direction. I have to take a second. This is lovely. Driving the night. I never. This is a dream come true.
Get the hang of it.
How long have you been ferryman?
بقالك قد إيه بتسوق المركب؟
34 years on the Nile.
باباك برضه كان بيشتغل إيه؟ كان شغال رئيس موجود برضه. And his father was working as a same, like a commander or a
commander of the big boats.
Like this.
Ah, wow.
So that's why he kept.
So you're following the footsteps of your father. His father drove tanks, and he himself became a tank commander. Shukran. The thing is, if you look at the water too long,
The water, yeah.
you go senile.
Very good. Do these things just suddenly come into you?
I can't help it. So Ram, just going to have a look at the map, and you can help me.
We'll soon be arriving on the other side of the Nile, so our focus returns to getting to Luxor before dark. Rand's original map from 50 years ago is a useful addition to keep us on track.
Are we going to Luxor?
Here.
Right, so it's quite a long drive.
It's a
isn't it?
long drive. If all goes according to plan, the police have been really heavy with security.
Thankfully, it appears that things come off boats easier than they go on. And we're soon on our way again.
Feels like if I had an impression back home before I left off to join you on this trip of Egypt, this would be it. We're really out in the sticks here.
Well, we're right on the edge now of Ulu.
I am here not to only retrace his steps through Egypt, but to connect with him and who he is and his heritage, and also to glean and learn from him.
So, Ram, what side of the Nile are we on? East or west?
East side.
East side.
Yeah.
If If you woke up suddenly and you were told you were on the red planet of Mars, you might believe them.
Except for the pylons.
Minus pylons.
My profession basically is leading and organizing and planning expeditions. And it's stressful, and it means you don't appreciate the artistic loveliness of places. Very often, you don't want beauty because beauty brings problems. You just want boring whiteness.
We've made it to Luxor. When Rand was here before, he had a bit of an issue. He was arrested on suspicion of being an Israeli spy.
They arrested us in a village near Luxor. There was a war between the Egyptians and the Israelis at that time, and the Nile was the reserve defense line.
In 1969, the Nile was considered to be strategic territory in the conflict. And the fact that Rand's expedition team had an 18-foot map of the region was something of a red flag for the police.
So they were on their edge, and you understand it. It wouldn't be good having foreigners going up the Nile.
After interrogating him and thoroughly examining his equipment, Rand was released. But his 1969 adventures caught the eye of more than just the local police.
Well, the main reason for us attempting this expedition was to celebrate the great age of Nile exploration of the 1860s.
The expedition kick-started Rand's explorer career. It put him firmly on the world stage. And on his return to the UK, even Hollywood came calling.
Got shortlisted for James Bond in 1970, believe it or not, but one of the other 5 got the job.
And that bloke was Roger Moore, whose iconic scenes in The Spy Who Loved Me were shot at this temple here in Luxor, where I am now. And for the next hour, I'm not an actor, not an explorer, just a tourist.
This is a guide, scholar, historian, and security man. You can tell by these, look. That's the security.
Luxor was part of Egypt's ancient capital, known as Thebes. The temple was built in honor of King Ammon and his wife and son. You wouldn't call it modest, but then again, he wasn't just any old god. He was king of the gods.
The quality of artistry is phenomenal. This would have been a spectacular place to come and visit, which it still is.
While I've been doing my tourist thing, Rand's been prepping my next challenge. This is Tartib, an ancient martial art that requires opponents to swing 4-foot sticks at each other's heads. And Rand's just told me I'm up next, against one of Egypt's leading experts. Oh, what fun. This lethal ancient martial art dates back to at least 2500 BC. Originally, the aim was to use these long canes to land a deadly headshot. But thankfully, Tartib is now more of a fiercely competitive and hopefully not so deadly local sport.
Salam alaikum. As the head of the stick fighting community in Luxor. Great honor to me.
And I can't wait to try it.
You must be learned first.
Beauty before age.
Radwan Mansour, our host, is a Tartib expert, and he talks me through the basics.
Good.
Rand may be able to call upon his training in special ops, but there are 1 or 2 moves I learned at the Royal Shakespeare Company that I think I might just deploy.
I really felt that man of 24, 25 that was here 50 years ago, beaming. There was fire in his eyes. It was brilliant. From pyramids to Tartib, he's unstoppable. So for Ran, I don't think age will ever stop him.
Thank you, brother. You're so well.
After the fighting, I want to share some of Ran's past with our host, Radwan. So we show some footage of my cousin, the 25-year-old explorer, in his prime.
This is 50 years ago, so this is before we were born. That's you there, always with your top off, Ran. Was that it? Was that goodbye?
Yeah, we left.
Ran.
Mr. Radwan said, this is a miracle to see you while you are 25 years in these pictures. And why are you sitting beside you at the same time?
You can't come to Egypt and not visit the Red Sea. Or at least I can't. So that's our next stop. It's a chance for me to take Ran somewhere he hasn't been, despite all his adventures in the Middle East. But to get there, we have to cross the mountainous and very hot Wadi Gamal Desert.
It's amazing how this texture changes from black to brown to yellow to lunar safari.
Crossing the Wadi Gamal Desert will be the biggest test yet of my off-road driving skills.
Oh, bumpy, sorry.
Ran knows all about dealing with these kinds of driving conditions from his 1969 expedition.
In countryside with just desert on both sides, that's where our real serious problems began, completely stuck in soft sand.
It's hard to imagine how anyone could survive for long in this desolate desert.
We're off map.
And there's nothing.
No name, no place.
It's 250 miles to the Red Sea across this searing sand. So we'll have to stop and camp somewhere. And that has its own dangers.
Hammock or tent?
I would say tent. I mean, obviously, if you are closer to the ground, there's a faint chance of crawly-wallies, but
that's true.
The tents have probably got zips to keep them out.
I think a tent sounds more tempting.
The only place we can camp overnight is on land that's protected by people who've made this place their home. The Bedouin. Ran called upon their help while engaged in military missions in the Middle East.
I got to know the Bedouin very well. We could go on patrol for 300 miles in the desert.
Do you understand the navigation that the Bedouins use at night time using the stars?
Yes, you look to see where the North Pole star is. You then find a constellation that you recognize, which is in the right direction. And for 5 or 10 minutes, because the stars are moving, go for it.
Clearly, the Bedouin will help us on our way. But first, we need to find them.
Look at that, Ran.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my word, this is beautiful.
Quite something.
220 miles into our drive across the Wadi Gamal Desert to the Red Sea, we arrive at the Bedouin camp, our stop for the night.
That's camp. Thank you for allowing us to come to your special place. It's beautiful.
Our Bedouin host, Mohammed Gad, explains that we might have some unwelcome guests joining us tonight.
We have a well here. The people come with the animal to drink, or for ibex, for gazelle, and sometimes also, of course, some foxes, of course.
Desert foxes are here.
Yes.
But no snakes.
Actually, the snake usually live under the trees.
So maybe we'll get the camp ready before the sun goes down.
Yes, yeah.
With wild animals roaming around the desert, I'm not entirely comfortable with camping on the ground. So I decide to sleep somewhere a little safer.
This is the presidential suite up here.
Oh, look, that's not very wide, is it, Joe?
It's not very wide.
No. Are you happy trying it out?
I'm undecided, but I'm going to sleep on it.
All right, got it. Slow but sure.
There are 4 million Bedouin, but only 5% of them still live in the desert. They have called Wadi Gamal their home for 4,500 years. And during that time, have fought off everyone from pharaohs and Romans to the British Empire. It's a real honor to spend the night here.
Oh, that's not too bad. Night, night, cuz.
The following morning, we sit down for a traditional Bedouin breakfast and map out our route to the Red Sea. Ran has decided to turn the final part of our drive into a race, me versus the world's greatest explorer. And to make it really interesting, I'll be in the classic car driving across tougher, tire-ripping terrain. Although my route is slightly shorter, Ran will be driving a newer vehicle on much smoother roads. Only the Bedouin know their way around this desert, so they'll be our guides.
Should we do a bet who gets there first?
Yeah, 20.
20.
Right.
I am now...
To which point? The sea?
To the point of the sea.
Well, all I can say, Joe, is good luck.
May the best team win.
Yeah, and I would hope to see you again at some point.
Okay, good. Good car. You know that 20 quid? You don't want to take it down to 10, do you?
Next stop, the Red Sea. Hopefully. Maps and GPS are no use in this unforgiving desert, but with my Bedouin guide next to me, I think I actually might be in with a chance of beating Ran.
Looking at the sat-nav, you would just end up, God knows, you certainly wouldn't be where you thought you were. So having a local Bedouin in the car is just such a huge, they go like that. If you can't understand whether they're saying go right at the mountain and left at the bypass or whatever, but they point just like that. So where you go to divergence of the tracks, you go off that way. No question asked.
Amin.
Shukra.
Dela Koshi Shimal.
Joseph doesn't want to say El Yasar, which is to the left. He definitely wants to say north and south. So I'm having to listen to Shimal and Janub, Ganub, which I'm not used to.
If we carry on doing these cut-throughs, we'll beat him.
My temperamental old car has other ideas.
Hey! Hot. Water.
It's no fun fixing a leaky car radiator in the 100-degree sun. And I'm desperate not to lose any more ground in our race to the Red Sea. It's certainly not helping me that I can't actually figure out how to close the bonnet. As we race towards the Red Sea, I'm pretty sure Ran has an easier ride in his modern car.
That radiator has lost us a good 5 minutes. Let's try and catch it up. Yalla bina! No more stopping.
I know how this will sound, but I've definitely got the harder route here. I reckon Ran's got it easy.
Are you bored senseless?
Computers and air conditioning over?
It's just lovely.
Yes, but don't you feel like you've lost contact with the spirit that once drove you?
No, I'm letting my cousin enjoy all that for the moment.
Here, you have to think. You have to feel. You have to have contact with the earth. And... Aye! Okay, I'm in the red, so I'm going to have to stop again.
A dodgy radiator is not exactly what you need when you're racing against the world's greatest explorer. And of course, Ran can't resist rubbing it in.
See you on the beach.
Quick, we've got to get to the beach.
Oh, yes, Joseph, that's them. Yeah, I'm not going to let Joe get away with this one. We're going to go a little bit faster.
It's not overheating, good girl. Where's the finish point, over?
Looks as if it might be soon.
Oh, what? Wow. And Ran might seem avuncular and calm, but underneath is the cold, competitive killer. Come on, baby, come on! We can do it!
Joe, looks like you're going to get there first.
I think you're right. I think the old gal has it. Bean two to the finish line.
I think Ran might have taken his foot off the gas there. But a win's a win.
Oh, wow. Look at that sea there. Woo! Guess what I've got here? This is official.
You wait. It'll be first to touch the blue line. That's
Oh!
the proper sea.
And then it'll be the first to swim to Oman.
Yemen.
Yemen. It was lovely to come from that dry, desert, unforgiving landscape to this sort of almost looked like a mirage, this beautiful, cool water. And then jumping in and going for a swim. It was just sheer delight. I really felt, again, that man of 24, 25 that was here 50 years ago, beaming and connecting with this trip.
I've never really bothered to get to know family, so it's very interesting meeting someone of your own blood. It's given me an opportunity to not just go down the Nile and try and remember 50 years ago and see what's changed, but getting side trips to things that you've always wished is just great. Actually seeing the Red Sea, having spent so much time just on the other side, Oman, it's just great.
It's been invaluable, this trip, looking back. And here we are, look, we're at the sea. This feels like the end of the trip. And we've got another week to go.
And on the final leg of our Egyptian expedition, we witnessed the wonder and splendor of Abu Simbel's ancient temple.
And I'm having a little bit of an out-of-body experience.
I have to rely on my own unique method of camping.
People might laugh at me up here, but creepy crawlies tend not to climb up metal.
And my off-road driving skills are put to the ultimate test.
Oh, what? I think it might blow. It's gonna blow.